grifters, we 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 grifters.
Shape the emerging UAP narrative. Remember those words, folks. Shape the emerging UAP narrative. Remember those words, folks.
I'm an intel guy. 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 I'm an intel guy.
We grifters, 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 we grifters.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
We grifters, we grifters.
Remember those words.
We grifters, we grifters.
Remember those words.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes. Yes.
Luis Elizondo.
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 What do you have to say to people who say, well, if this is leaked footage, you know, this is people trying to get out their own agenda. This isn't necessarily credible. What do you have to say to people who say, well, if this is leaked footage, you know, this is people trying to get out their own agenda. This isn't necessarily credible.
Set the scene for us here. Those appear to be flares, kind of in a triangle shape. Do you think that that could be what these Marines saw? Set the scene for us here. From the Marines, did they ever try to file a report with the government? Real quick, set the scene for us here.
Yeah, so this happened back in 2021, and of course, I thought it was flares.
Jeremy Corbell.
Hey, man, great to see you. Thank you.
There is something in the sky over the desert here in California. Something, again, I guess you have to call it a UFO. Because I don't know what this is we're looking at. It is definitely weird, but earlier this week, Jeremy Corbell, who we've had on the show, where he's going to be joining us in just a moment.
And George Knapp.
From the Marines, did they ever try to file a report with the government? Yes, that was the problem. We weren't getting information.
Truthseekers, seek the truth. A truth so bold it's hard to hold. Truthseekers, yeah. Place the cash, place the cash.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We're back for another wacky day in the world of UFOs. And I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt today because apparently an Imperial drone was spotted on Hoth. Oh, no, I mean at Baghdad in Iraq. Sure looks like it. And there's memes going everywhere. But we are back for another round of a Jeremy Corbell alleged UAP or UFO video. But I think it's important that we point out all the times that Jeremy Corbell hyped up alien spaceships before, and the things in the videos were nothing to do with alien spaceships. And, that's part of what we'll be talking about tonight. So the race is on to debunk this so-called jellyfish UFO or UAP. That's what Mr. Corbell is calling it. And by the way, he is a military UFO expert now and a journalist. I guess you just become a journalist by proclamation. I'm a journalist too then. I mean, I'm self-taught and I have a proven track record of factual reporting, whereas many people have a proven track record of selling completely and totally fake stories for cash. If they could call themselves a journalist, nobody should have a problem with me doing that as well then. So we're going to be getting into this, and I had an interesting day today. Interestingly, I decided to start getting up early, and today I got up early and saw the news of this. There's lots of things for me to share with you, and we're going to be getting into all of it. I have some notes. We're going to be doing a history lesson on Jeremy Corbell's track record of selling completely and totally fake stories. And here's the thing, this should matter. This should be important. And the venom and the vitriol from people on Twitter, it's just amazing. So I'm not going to argue with people anymore. If you think that the object depicted in this UFO or UAP video, whatever you want to call it, is a jellyfish space alien from Dimension X or the planet Xanadu, I'm not going to argue with you. Congratulations, living in that delusional fantasy world where a guy who keeps pretending things are spaceships that aren't is right this time when he's been wrong multiple other times before. And, at some point you have to say, is he really this lazy? Is he really this stupid? Or is he intentionally putting out videos that he knows just look strange and he'll make some money out of before they come crashing down as nothing spectacular? I know what I believe, but people are free to believe whatever they like. Now I'm being called a bot on YouTube. This dude's a fed bot. Let him run. He'll be famous. What? I don't understand. Great. And I just want to make sure that I put this out there. This morning I had a very nice morning, and somebody that runs spaces, I'm UFO Shane. He's always saying, come and talk in my spaces, come and talk in my spaces. But even when I go and just listen there, people are abusive and nasty towards me. And I just want to say, and by the way, I'm guilty of being a little too aggressive and maybe nasty at times too, mostly due to my time constraints. I don't have time to educate every uneducated idiot on the internet or person. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be more diplomatic, let's say. So this morning, have a nice time. I went into this spaces, and sure, there were some real true believers that just totally believe that aliens are here and non-human intelligences are visiting us. But everybody was respectful, and nobody yelled and screamed at each other. Nobody called each other lunatics or a disinfo agent. We just had a conversation. Here's what I believe. Well, I respect that. What do you believe? Well, I respect that you believe that, but I respectfully disagree. Can't we do that? Apparently not, because you're not allowed to say that this thing is not a giant jellyfish alien spaceship from Dimension X. And if you do, you'll get attacked all day long on Twitter like I did. And interestingly, I did some enhancements to this original footage, which, by the way, I just want to point out is something that Jeremy Corbell, with all the experience being a filmmaker, is vastly more qualified than me to enhance the video so that people can get a clearer image and view of what he is portraying. But we don't get that because, and we're going to get into it. I believe that this video is purposefully being downsampled, purposefully being made into garbage quality. And the only reason that I could think that somebody would do that on purpose is they were trying to obscure the object in the video. We've all seen these grainy UFO videos, right? And we know that some of them are done that way on purpose. And the reason they're done that way is because people are trying to obscure what is depicted in the footage. They do not want people to see clearly what is in the footage. Now, I'm not an expert on FLIR cameras and military surveillance systems, but other people are. And I can tell you that the resolution that we get from Jeremy Corbell is garbage quality. And he's saying that it's raw footage that he's releasing. It's not raw footage. It appears to be footage of somebody taking a video of a television screen playing the video. Why would you purposefully downgrade it an additional or extra generation if you had the raw footage? Why would you just not release the raw footage? I believe there's a reason for that. And we're going to find out, hopefully. But before we begin tonight, I want to take a moment to recognize and welcome in the live chat. We've got a great audience here today. And Simon Fly, welcome, says, I avoid engaging with experiencers. I'm not professionally qualified to do so. I don't know. Some of them are nice. You know, my point earlier is I went into the spaces and I think it was I think I was in there for like an hour. It was a good conversation, and it wasn't filled with the venom and the vitriol, right? And by the way, one other point, I'm making a new policy in my life. You see the glasses? That's because I'm half blind. I have a physical disability. You notice how it's a little dark in here? I keep it dark in here because it helps me to see the screen in order to properly run the show, being that I'm visually impaired. And I'm not going to argue with idiots. Dude, some guy on Twitter today just went nuts on me. And then I told him that I have a paralyzed eye. And, you know, instead of just apologizing for making fun of me having a physical disability, he doubled down. You know what he did? I love it. He sent me a video of a guy who's completely blind and said, if you're only half blind, you're better off than him and you shouldn't cry so much, right? I always tell these people the same thing. I know where there's a school of special ed kids. If you just want to go make fun of handicapped people, maybe there's a bus somewhere full of kids in wheelchairs you could go make fun of. And by the way, the only reason I'm recounting this is to display to you the level of venom and vitriol that some of these people have. If you just offer your opinion that, hey, I don't think this is a jellyfish space alien from the Dimension X or Planet Xanadu. I'm sorry, I'm allowed to say that but you can't say that without getting viciously attacked. Because how dare you say a guy that pushed fake alien videos, 3-4 times before that weren't aliens, may be wrong in this case when he claims this is a jellyfish alien or whatever he's claiming, extraordinary craft. By the way, that's another issue. For 70 years or more, people have been claiming that they saw or witnessed extraordinary craft. Not one person has proved it. Not one. So pardon me if I err on the side of, caution and just say, hey, maybe we don't. And by the way, that's all I'm saying. Let's not jump straight to alien jellyfish spaceships. There could be a very reasonable explanation for some of this. Travis Taylor is here and has been a member for 9 months and says, Stephen Campion for president. God forbid things would change. I'm not here. This isn't happening with a kind of generous £9.99 says, in times of old, con men would exploit people's faith selling religious relics like saints' bones for profit. This is the modern day UFO cult equivalent. It's a dark form of exploitation. Can't say I disagree with you. And we want to thank both of you for your kindness, generosity, and support. In fact, we want to thank all of you. We're going to get into all of this. I got a bunch of stuff to share. Hopefully, we'll be getting to the bottom of this mystery. I do have to say that the video is not definitively debunked yet. So I guess he's doing better than the last video he released, which was debunked within an hour or two of him releasing it. But we're going to be checking in with the folks over at metabunk.org, Mick West's organization that debunks garbage, fake things. Wait, I'm trying to be diplomatic. Mick West's excellent organization, which provides evidence-based reporting and often debunks videos that claim to be alien or extraordinary in nature or extraordinary crafts in nature. But we want to take a moment to thank you all for helping us to praise the cash, and then we'll get into our presentation.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right, and isn't it interesting? I did some enhanced footage and posted it on my Twitter. It's at Stephen Cambion on Twitter, if you'd like to see that. And isn't it interesting that my Twitter video got something like 45,000 views, and but somehow we don't have 45,000 live viewers to watch the additional enhanced footage that that we have developed here. And the reason that I did this is because I'm not an expert, but anybody that has been video editing for a little bit of time knows how to section, zoom, and size things so that you can get the best look at the image being depicted as a UAP, jellyfish UAP. I don't understand why these people that are selling the story don't do that. But the lie by omission and leaving out data is oftentimes how this thing works. So there's no sound to this. These are some of the enhancements that I did to the video, and this is just zoom. And I did add an auto. I'm sorry. I made some adjustments to the contrast and brightness in order to get a clearer image, but very light because I don't. It's easy to overdo it with these things. So here we see the footage, and we can see some close-ups of what is supposed to be a jellyfish UAP, and things get interesting because listen, if he just put this video out and said, hey, we don't know what this is. This is something strange. However, that's not what he does. He puts these videos out, but then he puts out all kinds of additional claims, and all of his claims come from anonymous sources. This was also true in the case of Bob Lazar, where he sold everybody a convicted pimp fake scientist that he claimed was a government whistleblower. That man was not a scientist, and there's zero evidence or proof he ever worked for the government. And in fact, Jeremy Corbell got caught lying and saying that he had contracts with the government. FOIA requests were filed, and it was found out that he lied about that. Bob Lazar has no government contracts. So what we have here is a man that has a history of playing fast and loose with the facts, who's in the past made huge claims and never proved them. And here we are again with huge claims. I'm going to share my other tab here. So these are some of the claims, all coming from anonymous sources, which, I get it. There's an interesting part to that, though. If Jeremy Corbell is a government transparency advocate and a disclosure advocate, and he expects the government to be completely transparent and disclose all they know about aliens and UFOs, then why isn't he equally transparent? And why doesn't he disclose where he's getting this information from? Because, these are fantastic out of this world claims that come along with really a piss poor grainy video that could be anything. Could be balloons. People are speculating it could be a smudge on the lens or glass, but we're going to get into that. So these are what I call Jeremy Corbell's trust me, bro claims. And if you're unfamiliar with the show, by the way, welcome if you're new. We welcome, we're getting a lot of new subscribers lately. Great to see it. So we come up with our own terminology for some things here. And I came up with the term trust me, bro claims. And those are claims that have absolutely zero displayable or provable evidence. It's just a matter of trust me, bro. I have sources, bro. And my sources told me this. So these are trust me, bro claims that come along with this video that have absolutely no evidence. And we can already prove that one of these claims that he made, one of these trust me, bro claims, are completely and totally factually inaccurate, 100% false. At least one of these claims we're already proving is false. The first claim is that the object went under the water for 17 minutes. It came out of the water and did 90-degree turns and then shot off at high speed. But of course, that's not in the video he showed. That would be the extraordinary part of this story, right? If an object went under the water for 17 minutes and then came out of the water and did 90-degree turns and shot off at high speed, that would be the money shot. Interestingly, that shot is missing. I don't think that's a coincidence. And in fact, I freely admit this is speculation, but I think that some of these things are added in to sort of misdirect people away from properly debunking what they're seeing in this video as an ordinary earthly object. Because all over Twitter, people are repeating to me, it can't be a balloon, Stephen, because the object went under the water for 17 minutes and then it came out of the water and it did 90-degree turns. And what is the source of that information? Jeremy Corbell, a person who's been caught lying over and over and over and over and over again and again to sell a story. But we're just supposed to trust him, bro. I'm sorry, I don't trust a proven liar. Next claim, could not be seen with the naked eye, just on infrared film. Okay, what's your source for that? Well, I can't tell you. I'm a government transparency and disclosure advocate, but I can't be transparent with my viewers. I can't be transparent with the American public while I'm demanding that the government be, right? Listen, if it couldn't be seen with the naked eye, that'd be something. Can I interview your sources who said that? And you got their ranks and checked that they were in the area at the time and were involved in this event, right? And you can give me those records? Oh, no, I can't. But trust me, bro, it couldn't be seen with the naked eye, just on film. You know, the claims these are really huge claims to make with absolutely zero evidence. Next claim, there were a couple of nations involved and the feeds were shut down. I don't even know what this means. Does he mean there's like international feeds between different nations in war zones or is the United States military broadcasting feeds to other nations while we're in Iraq? I don't think so, but I'm not an expert on these things. What's your source of that, Jeremy Corbell? Oh, trust me, bro. There were a couple of nations involved and all the feeds were shut down. Wow, sounds important. Like they were trying to cover it up, like every other UFO story, right? There's a cover-up involved in this. The object, here's another claim. I love this one, boy. Maybe this is a reptilian spacecraft and it's not from Dimension X or the planet Xanadu. It's from Draco Reptilian or wherever the hell those reptiles that like to eat people and butt bang them are from. The object has scale-like armor on it. Well, who told you that? That must mean that you had eyewitnesses to the actual event. Can we talk to them? No, trust me, bro. Somebody told me this. Somebody told me. Trust me, bro. Somebody told me. Could not be detected or seen with night vision. Great. Can we talk to one of those people and they're qualified to operate night vision equipment and they were in the area at the time and date of the sighting? No, we can't talk to them either. Wow. What about transparency, Jeremy Corbell? What about disclosure? We can't talk to the people that are making these fantastic claims. And isn't that a little convenient considering that you've claimed that people told you fantastic things before and yet you've never proven those claims? You know, at some point you have to say, I'm not going to trust anything this guy says on a Trust Me, bro. Maybe he could get away with that the first couple of times. But how many times are you going to let him just say, trust me, bro, somebody told me, and that's his proof, and that's sufficient proof? Footage was taken by an intelligence agency and buried. Okay, so if this footage was taken by an intelligence agency, that would mean it was classified footage then, right? Then how did Jeremy Corbell get it? Wouldn't that come with some legal consequences? I mean, I'm just asking questions here. Footage was taken by an intelligence agency and buried. Well, I mean, I guess I can go contact the NSA and the CIA and the DIA and whatever other American intelligence agencies there are and ask them if they took this footage or buried it But the amount of time and energy to do that, and by the way, we're going to explain that principle as well. It's called Brandolini's law, I believe. The object in the video changes temperature. Again, all these claims are trust me, bro claims. All these claims were made with absolutely no evidence. The video that he shows doesn't prove any of these things. And in fact, the video that he does provide completely and totally disproves the last thing on our list. The object in the video changes temperature. Turns out, no, it does not change temperature. And that's a completely and totally factually inaccurate statement. And we've got the proof for you right here. And this, of course, is from the great Mick West. And by the way, I want to make a point about Mick West. Mick West was right about at least 2 previous Jeremy Corbell videos not being what Jeremy Corbell said they were. He was right about the pyramid spaceships not being pyramid spaceships, but rather being, the result of camera lens aperture. And he was right about the flare UFOs. Remember that? The giant triangle spaceship? That's what Jeremy Corbell said it was. It's a giant triangle spaceship. It's a craft. It's a craft. No, it was flares. And when we talk about track record, Jeremy Corbell's been wrong every time. And Mick West has been right every time. So why does Mick West get all the venom and the hatred and Jeremy Corbell gets put on a pedestal for lying to you? He got it, or at least he got it wrong, and Mick West got it right both times. I think Jeremy's default position is it's definitely aliens, bro. It's definitely aliens. And when you come at things from a cognitive bias and a starting point of it's got to be aliens, if you look for aliens everywhere, you're going to see them everywhere. Mick West did good evidence-based science to determine what the last few videos are. And here he says in the clip, Jeremy Corbell claims the object is changing temperature. To me, it looks like the apparent temperature change is actually the thermal camera auto-ranging when the UAP goes dark. The background also goes dark. When it goes light, the background also goes light. So the Jeremy Corbell claimed that the object depicted in these videos was changing temperatures, going from hot to cold, hot to cold. No, it was not. And we know that because this was a result of the thermal camera auto-ranging system on the camera. And objects in the background, including buildings, the ground, the dogs shown in the video, also cycle from dark to bright. This is a complete and total false statement that Jeremy Corbell made. This is not an object changing temperature. This is the thermal camera auto-ranging, and that's just the way it is. So he got even that part of it wrong. And by the way, I just want to mention, I'm not a military UFO expert, and neither is Mick West, but Mick West figured out that even some of the original claims and statements that Jeremy Corbell is making about this are completely and totally not correct. Here we see the proof. The object depicted in the video is not changing temperature. That was a complete and total factually inaccurate statement made by Jeremy Corbell. But we'll just add that to the long list of factually inaccurate statements that Jeremy Corbell has made. And, one more point on these huge claims. Where's the proof, Jeremy? You never have any proof. You've got piss poor videos that could literally be anything, including a spatter of bird shit on a window. But we're just supposed to trust you because you've got such a great proven track record of getting stories factually accurate, right? Like, how's that Bob Lazar story working out for you, right? I guess the Lazar money ran out, so now you're on to jellyfish spaceships to make some money, right? Good for you. All right, we're going to get into some other things, including I thought it would be a good idea if we just take a quick history lesson of Jeremy Corbell's complete and total failure to be honest with his audience, and the other times that he over sensationalized, overhyped a video as aliens or UFOs. And by the way, you know, a UFO is unidentified. If you can identify it in an hour, it's not unidentified, or you know, it's not a UFO and it's not a UAP. Just in case you were wondering, that would be an IFO, an identified flying object. But there's no money in selling stories about IFOs. So everything is a UFO to people like Jeremy Corbell. All right, we're going to get into a history lesson here, courtesy of Stephen Greenstreet and Mick West. And this is from the New York Post's YouTube channel. We're going to cite fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public about Jeremy Corbell's incredibly piss-poor track record of getting stories completely wrong. And here we're going to notice a bit of a pattern. And the pattern, I think, is that Jeremy Corbell finds, or people send him, videos of unusual things. And Jeremy Corbell turns them into aliens and UFOs, even if they're easily identifiable. And he does that, I think, because there's money in UFOs. There's no money in showing people a strange-looking video, like a few that we're going to see tonight, and saying it's flares dropped during a military exercise, just in case you're curious. There's no money in that. There's an awful lot of money in pretending it's aliens, though. And I believe that's what Jeremy does. And you know, I don't know if he truly believes this crap or if it's just a straight, you know, deception purposefully being put forth so that he could make some money and stay in the news. Who knows? But let's take a quick history lesson of the last two videos that Jeremy Corbell claimed were extraordinary craft.
Mystery in the sky. Do you see the 5 dots there on your screen?
Looks like a triangle seeming to hover over a base out of 29 Palms.
A triangular formation of light. Could this really be a mass UFO sighting? Joining us now is Jeremy Corbell. And
Jeremy Corbell himself joins us right now.
Jeremy Corbell, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And then it was almost immediately proven to be flares. What it actually was what a lot of people pointed out within minutes of the video being released was flares. Very common source of UFO sightings are military flares because they often drop them in patterns. They're quite large in the sky, they're spacing, and they descend fairly slowly and stay there for a while.
Yeah.
So we proved like 100% exactly what these were, these flares. It really wasn't that hard to figure it out.
Yeah, and by the way, this video that he released and did a whole media tour claiming it was something extraordinary was debunked within an hour of him releasing it, I believe, because all you had to do was know the location of the sighting and the general time frame, and then you too could find out that there was military exercises with flares being dropped. And then John from the Black Vault found some training footage and matched it up with Jeremy Corbell's video 100%. And these are things that Jeremy Corbell could have done. So you have to ask yourself, is Jeremy Corbell just lazy? Why can Mick West and John from the Black Vault and other people debunk these things and he can't? I'm telling you, I believe, and this is my opinion, I freely admit that he's not that lazy. And that he claimed in the case of these flare UFOs that he worked on that story for 2 years. So we're supposed to believe that he worked on that story for 2 years and he never came across the information that Mick West and John from the Black Vault came across in 1 or 2 hours of release of the video. He had multiple journalists working on that story with him. How could he get it so wrong? Unless he got it wrong on purpose, friends.
You know, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, they were the people responsible for leaking the green triangle video. And
they called it, yeah, and Knapp, Corbell, they're reporting it was flying pyramids.
Yeah, they said these green triangles were actually triangular shaped, and they were actually like a bunch of things.
LA-based investigative
It was pyramid spaceships, damn it, because I want it to be.
filmmaker Jeremy Corbell recently released this video taken by the Navy, showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs.
UFOs are real. They represent an advanced and sophisticated technology.
And then you, of course, proved without a doubt that the triangle shapes we see are actually due to the triangular shape of the camera's aperture.
And this is something that Jeremy Corbell should have known because he's a military UFO expert and Mick West is a video game designer. So how does a military UFO expert not know about camera apertures on lenses and how they can create this sort of effect? And you're a military UFO expert, but a retired video game designer. And by the way, I love Mick West's old games, man. He's a great guy. I don't mean to discount him. I just think that's a fair point to make. If you're going to sit on television and call yourself a military UFO expert, how come, like, you know, people who I guess would be considered non-experts in you know, military UFOs are able to identify things that the expert gets wrong? Or does he get them wrong on purpose because there's more money in that?
Basically, with a triangular aperture, anything that's out of focus would look like a triangle. You also proved without a doubt that most of the objects in the videos and photos were actually just stars, out of focus stars. But despite...
Yeah, Mick West did an incredible job lining this up almost perfectly.
All of this, Corbell still claims these were triangles, pyramids.
You know, he tweeted, like, when I explained what it was, it's, you know, the aperture of the triangular aperture of the camera. I explained what it was, and he tweeted saying basically it's complete nonsense, it's a lie, it's a disinformation. The triangular aperture theory is just a big distraction from the reality.
Yeah, you have to evaluate your ability to perceive if you don't believe that these are pyramid spaceships like him.
Of things, when in fact it was all 100% accurate. That's what actually happened, and as was confirmed by the Pentagon.
The triangular appearance is a result of light passing through the night vision goggles and then being recorded by an SLR camera. It is simply that light source resolves itself through the night vision goggles onto the SLR camera as a triangle.
But even that's an interesting thing. The Pentagon confirmed, you know, the theory that I and various other people came up with because it was so...
I think maybe Mick West ought to be the military UFO expert going forward, because he keeps getting it right and Jeremy Corbell keeps getting it wrong. Why is Jeremy Corbell a military UFO expert now?
Obvious.
It's research by it's title by proclamation, right?
But the Pentagon said they didn't figure it out for 2 years. And what's going on there? Who was actually looking into it? It's the UAP task force.
Oh, look, two of the Skinwalker scam ghost hunters. Those were the people that were in charge of figuring this out. And they couldn't figure it out in 2 years. But Mick West and John from the Black Vault did in about an hour or two. Great.
A time.
Maybe the Pentagon needs to reconsider its hiring decisions, right? And by the way, just to be clear, Travis Taylor, I think he has a PhD in optical physics. He has a PhD in optical physics, and he couldn't figure it out in 2 years. And Jay Stratton, isn't that the guy that said werewolves follow them home from Skinwalker Ranch? I think so.
Which would have been Jay Stratton and Travis Taylor. They couldn't figure it out for 2 years.
Skinwalker Ranch ghost hunters.
Optical thing. Travis Taylor, PhD in optics.
Oh, he's got okay. So he has a PhD in optical science, and he couldn't figure it out. These are your experts.
Couldn't figure it out. What's going on?
These are ancient aliens stars. These are, you know, authors of books about ghosts and werewolves. These are people who have been hawking the UFO and ghost.
I think that's we'll frame it right there. It's the Alien Con. I think it's aptly named. And every time I make that joke, somebody tells me it means convention, Stephen. I know it means convention, but it's still funny that these two guys are sitting at a table that says Alien Con, because that's what they do. They con people about aliens. It's the Alien Con. I'm gonna screenshot that right now before I forget. And by the way, I have to give a fair warning here. There is a terrible storm right now. I can hear the rain, and I can't normally hear the rain here in my office. But I am in an attic office room above the roof, right below the roof. So it's really raining out there. So I just want to make sure that I give the fair disclaimer warning. It's never happened, but the lights did flicker a few times earlier today, which sometimes means a power failure may be on the way. We've got a huge rainstorm. It's better than a snowstorm. So just a fair warning. Should I happen to de-res out of the studio here and suddenly be gone from the stream, that would mean that there's a power failure and we don't have a backup system here. Isn't it interesting that I'm more prepared for bad weather and power failures at my cabin in the wilderness than I am at my main homestead? But then again, my cabin in the wilderness is the apocalypse cabin. We're prepared for all things there. Not very prepared here. I'm just going to give the warning just in case it happens. We're going to try our best to keep the stream alive. Hopefully the power won't do anything wacky. So I want to also take a moment just to recognize all our new friends on Instagram. I've had an Instagram account forever, never really used it, but now Instagram is allowing us, they've become one of our new distribution partners. And the first hour of our show every night will be broadcast live on Instagram. You can follow me there. It's at Truthseekers Show on Instagram. And thank you. I'm getting a lot of follows there. We love finding new friends. So follow me on Instagram at Truthseekers Show. So we are gonna show you some of the possible explanations for this. 1 second here. Let me check my notes here. I had some other points to make. So we're going to get into some of the alternate explanations of what it indeed may be. And this is where, things get difficult because there's something called, I think it's called Brandolini's Law. Yes, Brandolini's Law. And this is why I sometimes get frustrated. I'm going to share my screen again. This is just from Wikipedia telling you about Brandolini's Law. Also known as the bullshit asymmetry principle, is an internet adage coined in 2013 that emphasizes that the effort of debunking misinformation in comparison to the relative ease of creating it in the first place. The law states the following: the amount of energy needed to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude bigger than that needed to produce it. So in order to, here's where I get frustrated. People say to me ridiculous things like, well, Stephen, you can't prove it's not a giant jellyfish alien spaceship from the planet Xanadu. And you're right, I can't. And the amount of energy required to dispel Jeremy Corbell's bullshit is truly an order of magnitude bigger. Look at all the claims that we showed you earlier. How long would I have to spend on the phone with the government and the military trying to get on the record sources to refute Jeremy Corbell's "trust me, bro, with no evidence" claims? You know what's easy? Making claims with no evidence. Why doesn't he cite his sources? Right? That's what a reputable journalist does. That's what somebody with ethics that has, a moral conscience, they don't put something in a story unless they can cite a reputable source that anyone can check with and find out, yes, that information did come from them. Instead, all we get is "trust me, bro. It's definitely a jellyfish UAP that went under the water and it made 90-degree turns and it shot off at a distance. Great. Can we see that footage? No, dude, but trust me, bro, it did that." And all of these other claims. How are we supposed to refute that? Well, it would take an order of magnitude of energy more than it took Jeremy Corbell to produce the bullshit. And that's unfortunate. Now, I just want to also make an additional point, and that is that Jeremy Corbell, this clickbait copy-paste journalism is ridiculous, because go Google Jellyfish UFO right now. What you're going to find is like 100 people that just copied and pasted almost everything that Jeremy Corbell said. They did no independent fact-checking. They didn't actually fact check Jeremy Corbell's claims or even mention in their articles that all of his claims are based on anonymous sources and no real evidence. This is the world that we live in. Somebody comes up with a sensational story that people can clickbait and copy and paste, and then suddenly there's hundreds of stories about this on the internet based on what? A grainy ass video that could be anything? And Jeremy Corbell's Trust Me, Bro. So Jeremy Corbell is already, this is the danger. He's already spread misinformation to every website that copied and pasted his original garbage. Shocking new UFO footage. And this is just one example. I could show you 20 more. This is from the Daily Mail, and they just did copy-paste garbage journalism here. Shocking new UFO footage shows jellyfish craft not visible to the naked eye hovering over town in video that was, quote, buried by the intelligence community. Where's the sources for all that? A proven liar told them that. A proven liar who's been caught selling fake stories over and over and over again said that, and they just copied and pasted what he said and reprinted it. Great job. Great job, Daily Mail, right? Shocking new UFO footage was revealed in a jellyfish craft that isn't visible to the naked eye. What's the source of that information? A guy who got caught selling completely fake stories and has been caught lying many, many times before said the craft wasn't visible to the naked eye. So they just printed it, which was allegedly buried by the intelligence community. Who said that? Jeremy Corbell. Great. He also said that we were shooting down UAPs and UFOs on a regular basis as recently as last Friday. That turned out to be bullshit, didn't it? Leaked U.S. military footage of mysterious flying objects was unveiled by expert. I'm an expert, says Jeremy Corbell. Why? Because I said so. Do experts get the story wrong every time? Like, show me any other field where an expert in a field keeps getting the story wrong, but maintains the title of expert in that given field. This only works in the delusional circus land of UFOs. Two different angles of the aircraft show the mysterious entity as it flies over the land and water of a military base. The UFO can be seen on a thermal camera, and the object switches between black and white. Here's where there's a problem, Jeremy Corbell, because your fake story, at least this part of it, has now been copied and pasted to perhaps 100 other news outlets who are now inaccurately reporting the story because they trusted that you had accurate information. And this right here, indicating a change in temperature from hot to cold, is factually, completely, and totally wrong. It's wrong. Corbell revealed that troops in 2018 were instructed to, quote, hunt it down. Great. How would he know that? And that opens up a whole can of worms. If there's an active, unidentified craft over a military base, wouldn't that be somewhat sensitive information? How's Jeremy Corbell getting that? Oh, trust me, bro. He's got sources. He's got sources. 2018, troops were instructed to, quote, hunt it down. And it isn't visible to the naked eye, which was allegedly buried by the intelligence community. All right. The UFO was supposedly submerged in water for 17 minutes in the footage. What's the source for that? A proven liar said that he had sources tell him that. A guy who's been caught selling completely fake stories multiple times, his last two stories, right, major stories, were fake. But hey, he said that it was submerged in water for 17 minutes. The footage doesn't show that, but trust me, bro, it's a transmedium craft. It goes over a body of water, says Corbell. I'm told it stops on a dime, descends stiff into the water, and for 17 minutes, nothing. And then, boom, this thing comes out of the water and shoots off at 45-degree angles. Corbell said, describing the object's behavior. Again, who's the source for that? We don't know. Trust me, bro. Witnesses said that each of the hanging legs on the object were stiff and unmoving. That, I think, is an inaccurate statement because we can see that they're not in some portions of the video. And also, I believe that Mr. Corbell he may have used two separate objects being filmed because these two, the object over land and the object over water, I mean, they're vaguely similar. Blobs, grainy blobs. You can't really make out what it is. But there's a marked difference between the one shown over the water and the one shown over land. How do we know they're both the same object? Can we get the date and time that this object was filmed so that we can check flight radar and other things? Why don't we get that information? Why is he purposefully withholding information from the public? After all, he's a transparency and disclosure advocate. Jeremy Corbell, an investigative journalist and filmmaker, said that the legitimacy of the footage was confirmed by sources who risked getting it to him. What did they risk? Was it legal for them to leak you military footage, Jeremy Corbell? Was it legal for you to take taxpayer-funded military footage and profit from it? I mean, I guess if it's taxpayer funded, we can all profit from it. So I posted my enhancements of it. And I just want to say that lawyer letters are standing by. So, you know, it is what it is. The filmmaker is passionate about getting to the bottom of what UFOs mean to humanity. What if they mean sometimes they're flares, Jeremy Corbell? Would you just admit that sometimes they're flares? Of course not. Just say they're giant triangle spaceships. Corbell's bombshell revelations come as part of his expose. TMZ presents UFO Revolution, and it's on Tubi for free, right? Really great distributor he has there. TMZ is involved. You know this must be real aliens because TMZ is involved, right? Not CNN, not Fox News, not MSNBC, CNBC, NBC, CBS. No, TMZ is bringing us this story. You always have to consider the source, friends. In the documentary, Corbell spearheads an investigation which claims to, quote, lift the lid on the biggest cover-up in the history of the world. More claims of cover-up. The investigation comes after New York Times in 2020, and that was not 2020, that was 2016, exposed the Pentagon's ongoing UFO unit, where officials continue to study mysterious interactions between UFOs and the military. So repeated claims that weren't proven the first time should not be repeated. It's irresponsible journalism to just repeat unproven claims. Unless, I mean, I guess you could, but you'd have to put a little side note after the claim. No evidence was provided by Jeremy Corbell to establish these facts that he's placed in evidence. And that's a problem I have with this video too. All these facts are in evidence without evidence to support the so-called facts. It's really shaky. The UFO was supposedly submerged in water for 17 minutes in the footage before it launched out of the water at rapid speeds. And curiously, we don't get that part of the video. We're not allowed to see that because the transparency and disclosure advocate won't show us all the data. He's holding it back, or he doesn't have it. All he has is people telling him stories. Or, for all we know, he made up the sources. If you don't produce the sources, and let's be clear, people in the UFO community have straight made up fake sources that didn't exist in order to sell a story. Now, I'm not saying that's what he did here, but it's within the realm of possibility. If we can't verify the source, who cares? Who cares? And we have to take into account his piss poor track record of selling fake stories. If you don't, then buyer beware. Am I really being tough when I say if a guy's been proven to sell completely and totally fake alien stories before, then we should be hypercritical and hyper skeptical of his claims and not let him do the trust me, bro? Am I wrong to think that? I don't think so. It's track record matters. And if this guy's been caught lying to people before, and he has, and if this guy's been caught selling completely and totally fake stories before, and he has, then we have to be very skeptical of his claims, especially claims made with trust me, bro, and no actual sources to verify the claims being made. This article goes on, of course, to talk about David Grush. And by the way, what are we up to? 218 days, still no evidence to support David Grush's claims. But, you know, don't let a thing like real facts and evidence get in the way of a good alien story that you can get your disclosure boner going to, right? I don't get it. So we're going to go back right now to the enhanced footage. I realize some of you are here for that. Let me know, should I post I'm now up to a 6-minute video of enhanced footage. And again, all I did was zoom and resize, and I did a small contrast and brightness adjustment to bring the object out. Now, next we're going to get into possible explanations. Now, the first explanation, the first thing that I thought when seeing this is that this is not a real object in the sky. This is a blotch. Some people thought it was bird shit on the screen or on the camera lens. And for those unaware, some of these military surveillance systems, they have a dome on the front of the actual camera, like a glass or heavy plastic dome. That's to protect it from the elements or whatever. And the camera is inside and has free range of motion around that dome. So many people thought that this is just a blotch on the protective dome of the camera, and this is not actually flying in the sky. And so also, there's a lot of problems with this story. Like he says, you can't see it with the naked eye. Then who saw it go into the ocean for 17 minutes? And what military, he said this was filmed by a military asset, right? By a military weapons system filmed this. So you mean to tell me that a helicopter just hovered over the ocean for 17 minutes waiting for this thing to come back out of the ocean? Would that be normal military operating procedure? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a military expert, but that's a problem. That's a problematic part of the story. And who saw it go in the ocean and come back out then? Can we talk to the FLIR operator? That might clear these things up, right? And also, if we knew the date and location, it would be a lot easier to solve this mystery. But let's be clear, I don't believe that Jeremy Corbell wants to solve mysteries. He wants to create mysteries because mysteries are profitable, but solve mysteries, not so much money in those. So the first theory a lot of people came up with, and I could see, I had to watch this thing a whole bunch of times today while I was doing the enhancements. So the first, remember, we're going to be fair. Let's say this. The first theory is Jeremy Corbell's theory, that this thing did 90-degree turns. It's transmedium craft that can go in the ocean for 17 minutes and then just fly out and disappear at high speeds. It's a jellyfish spaceship or UFO, whatever you want to call it. That's the first. We'll put that as possibility number one. And possibility number two is that this is not an actual object that's even flying in the sky, but it is rather an optical illusion of something flying in the sky that's actually on the camera lens or in the dome, the protective dome, on the protective dome of the camera. Now, I haven't verified this, but there appears to be a FLIR expert on Twitter who claimed that it is not that, and it is also not IR. It is not a burn spot in the camera field or anything like that. But I haven't verified his credentials, so take from that what you will. And originally, I believe many people thought it was just a splotch on the camera lens or on the dome protecting the camera, which would make a lot of sense. It looks kind of like when you get bird shit on your window, right? And by the way, I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's what was talked about. But somebody did a recreation that I found fascinating, because the recreation, this is why recreations are important. And by the way, all this work that people are doing all over the internet, this is the work that Jeremy Corbell should have done before he released the story. He didn't do that. He lets everybody else do the work for him, and he just collects all the money. And then when the story comes crashing down, he goes flying off to pretend that he didn't just sell us a completely, totally overhyped fake story. So this is the actual footage. Now we're going to flip, and I'm going to show you a recreation that is, in fact, a splat on a window. And it does look kind of similar, right? But I don't think the object quite moves that way, but there could be a whole lot of explanation for that, including parallax and, rotations of the military cameras. But I'm glad that somebody at least made a recreation. Now, of course, the next theory is that this is balloons or a cluster of balloons. And this would not be the first time that George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell sold everybody balloons as alien spaceships. Anybody remember the Batman balloon? Oh, that was a great one. The Batman balloon, where they claimed that a Batman balloon was an extraordinary craft. Turned out to be a Batman balloon, or 99% most likely it was a Batman balloon. And here we see the second part of the footage. It doesn't appear to be the same craft to me or same object. This is it over land, and then when we see it over the ocean, it's not. It's not the same craft. I don't believe, and he has to prove it is the same craft. He's the one making these claims, or did he possibly conflate two videos in order to sell a fake story? Wouldn't be the first time he's conflated things to sell a fake story. See his Bob Lazar garbage piece, right? You remember that, the fluff piece, propaganda piece, where he tried to sell a convicted pimp, fake scientist with massive financial problems as a former government whistleblower, but he can't establish that the guy is a scientist or ever worked for the government or prove that, right? But there's massive proof that he didn't. You gotta love Jeremy Corbell's balls, though. Like, I'm just going to put out this garbage video and make these fantastical claims. What are you going to do, Jeremy Corbell, if the military comes out and says this was not a UAP? By the way, he said Pentagon sources said that this was designated UAP. Are you listening, John from the Black Vault? I'm going to say it one more time. Jeremy Corbell said that this video was designated a UAP, or unidentified aerial phenomenon, by the Pentagon. He said that in news articles to reporters, and I've got sources for him saying that in the description of the video. By the way, the original video where he shows this video and talks about it and makes all those trust me bro outrageous claims that he never proves is also in the description of our video. You see that, Jeremy Corbell? We have sources to show where we're getting our evidence from. Maybe you should try to publish your sources as well, instead of just saying, trust me, bro, it's a jellyfish UAP. Remember when you did the trust me, bro, it's a pyramid-shaped spaceship? Or remember when you did the trust me, bro, it's a triangle giant spaceship. It's a craft. That turned out to be flares. The other one turned out to be not what you said. So this is interesting that this is not debunked yet. I thought that that somebody would crack it as quickly as they cracked the last one, but flares is a lot easier to spot, and there was more on the record. There was more videos that people were able to find out. Oh, this was not what Jeremy Corbell pretended it to be. We're going to go and check out the Metabunk thread, and I've also included that in the description of the video. 1 second. I have to find it again here. Oh, Jellyfish UFO. Yeah. So the people over at Metabunk are working on this, and I'm hopeful that they're gonna crack the code here. 1 second. We're going to share this tab. So, and notice, isn't it interesting that people who are not making fantastic claims always cite their sources? I cite my sources. Mick West cites his sources, but Jeremy Corbell can't cite any of his sources. It's just, trust me, bro, right? And here's a high resolution image of the actual thing. Mick West, this is earlier. He said the balloon, kite, drone, something suspended from a drone, bird poop, solar balloon, Chinese lantern. You know, they're eliminating the possibility. Somebody suggested these balloons, but those are too old. Everybody's suggesting balloons. That one looks pretty funny. What if it's a stormtrooper balloon? Like, how ridiculous would that be? Then they'd have a Batman balloon fake story and a stormtrooper balloon fake story. Here's the debunk that shows that Jeremy Corbell was not being honest in his reporting of the object in question changing into changing temperatures. It definitely is not changing temperatures. The entire background is changing from light to dark, meaning that that is from the camera. That is not actual temperature change. It's the camera adjusting. So they're keeping going. We got Charlie Weiser on the case. God help Jeremy Corbell now, because if Charlie Weiser and Metabunk team up, that could be problematic. So this is what happens on Metabunk, and I'm new to this site, but I'm really enjoying it. Just a bunch of people from around the internet get together and try to solve these things. Yeah, so people are trying to, figure out what is the object, but nobody thinks it's a jellyfish spaceship from the planet Xanadu, except for Jeremy Corbell, or from Dimension X. But here I went, this is a very good possibility. A random collection of EID balloons, for those unaware, that is a holiday festival in the Middle East, in which balloons like this are often seen at festivals and parties. And we are talking about Iraq, a Muslim country where they observe Muslim holidays. And so somebody was reporting that this video was made in October of 2018, and therefore that's too far away from when that festival was. But I beg to differ. You can't, I believe Jeremy Corbell said that was the date it was recorded. I don't trust Jeremy Corbell with any information. And here's a good look at what one of those cameras looks like. So there could be a glass lens on the front of the main lens as on the protective housing. And this person, Flarkey, says the MX turrets have a number of cameras inside a rotating turret. The cameras are fixed in relation to the ball and the glass protecting them. Any smudge or mark on the glass would be 1, very out of focus, and 2, only moved during zooming in and out, during which the mark would increase in size. This is an MX-15, so called because its ball turret is 15 inches in diameter. I think that is what is being used here, probably an MC-12 plane like the other recently released UAP videos. So, does it appear to be partially translucent to IR heat to other people? I think that's probably not an issue. So the hunt, one person said it might be flak, and that does look strangely similar to the object seen in the video. Mick West explaining, balloons that are not rising or falling much and are at some reasonable altitude tend to not show much movement. And this thing would, definitely include that. So the hunt to debunk this is continuing. I have a feeling this one might take a little bit longer. And we're going to talk a little bit about this footage that Jeremy Corbell releases the footage and calls it raw footage. He's a filmmaker. He knows he's not releasing raw footage. He's releasing footage that somebody took while videotaping the video playing on a television screen or monitor. Then he's manipulating it, cropping things, and then posting it. That is nowhere near raw footage. People kind of having fun with the balloon thing. And it would seem, a couple of people have posted this. There was one other thing here. So here's some more footage that Mr. West produced. And it would take a while to stabilize the camera over the object. He didn't do that yet. I'm sure somebody will. But Mick West stabilized the video over the crosshairs. And we do get a pretty good look at this thing. So the EID balloon is a pretty good theory for what this may be. Gee, balloons that people have at a Muslim holiday flying somewhere over a Muslim country. I mean, I think that's a pretty reasonable explanation, much more reasonable than alien jellyfish aliens or alien jellyfish spaceships from the planet Xanadu came here to Earth, and they just went to Iraq to show themselves to a FLIR camera, and then they traveled, millions of miles back home, I guess. None of this makes any sense to me. But I will say, it is, Jeremy Corbell is good at one thing. He's good at finding videos of strange things in the sky and then making money from them until the stories come crashing down as nothing spectacular. And then he runs away like a bitch, pretending that he didn't just sell a completely and totally fake story to everyone. And then he sells a new fake story to everyone. It's a great business. It's a great business. And again, why the degradation in quality? If you have the raw footage, why are you filming it on a TV screen and then releasing that? Is it possible that Jeremy Corbell does not want the footage to be crystal clear as it could be? Because then somebody might identify what it actually is? I think that's a good possibility. And I'm sorry, you can call me cynical or critical or skeptical. I don't put anything past Jeremy Corbell. I don't trust that he has sources unless I see them and can speak to them myself. I don't trust when he says this is the date the video was filmed until I have paperwork confirming that and evidence to confirm that. And here's some excellent details that may help identify this from Mick West. At a couple of points, it flies in a way that would be in front of people if it were low. They don't react. Maybe it's dark, or maybe it's an indication that it's high up. Looks like the slant range is 3.5 km, I guess kilometers. Slant angle seems very roughly about 30%, putting the craft at 1.75 kilometers or around 5,000 to 6,000 feet. So this could easily be some balloons 2,000 to 3,000 feet above the ground with a strong parallax effect. And, people could say whatever they want about Mick West. He was right about the last couple of videos that Jeremy Corbell lied about, or just did a piss poor job analyzing. After all, he doesn't need to work hard. He's a military UFO expert by proclamation, right? Yeah. So, and people are, this is from the balloon explanation. A random collection of EID balloons might explain the change shape. This might be a curious accident, a random shape of drifting balloons, or a deliberate hoax. I'm not convinced by my own graphic here, but it does seem entirely possible. That seems to be one very good explanation. Mick West and the gang over at Metabunk are continuing to go through this video. Enhancements are being made. People are trying to figure, looks like a human piloting it. It looks like a jetpack. Oh my God, what if that's true, right? Now we're into the jetpack. It might be a jetpack. Well, there's just as much evidence that it's a guy piloting a jetpack than it is a jellyfish UAP. Yeah, and they're sharing the splat theory that we just shared earlier. Dingly bits appear further apart, so the legs do move. Jeremy Corbell said that they don't move. They were stiff. Well, we've already found out that that's a factually inaccurate statement. So this one's falling apart right before our very eyes. Now, of course, it's taken a little longer than the last one, which was completely and totally debunked as not what Jeremy Corbell claimed it to be within hours. Do we get a betting pool going? Will we know what this is for sure by tomorrow or next week? What do you guys think in the live chat? Let me know. And we want to thank Montauk Jerkoff. Great user ID with a kind and generous $1.99 super chat, and just bird shit smile. That's what they said. Well, we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. So we want to thank all of our kind and generous benefactors. Thank you, Montauk Jerkoff.
Raise the cash, raise the cash, raise
All right. Now, I had some other points to make, and let me get to my notes here. Jeez, I have. Anybody ever get that feeling like that your mind is so ADD, you're like 80,000 tabs open, and you don't know where the music is coming from? It's kind of how I feel lately. All right, wait, found the notes. All right, so we've given you a history lesson. We've talked about how track record matters, and Jeremy Corbell keeps getting caught selling completely fake stories. So, and by the way, I'm not saying this one is fake. All I'm saying is that you have to be very cautious when evaluating the claims of somebody who has provably lied to everybody before to sell a story, who has provably misidentified objects while selling stories. History and track record really matters, which is why I don't really understand if Jeremy Corbell is 2-0 with identifying a military UAP, and Mick West is, I mean, if Jeremy Corbell is 0-2 and Mick West is 2-0, right? Why is Mick West the bad guy? Can somebody explain that to me? Like, do you want to just believe that whatever Jeremy Corbell says is true, even if it's fake? Do you want to live in a delusional fantasy world, or do you want to really solve the mystery here? I prefer to solve the mystery. If something's fake, I want to know it's fake so I can move on to the next thing and not waste any time on garbage peddlers who sell garbage fake information and garbage fake videos that aren't what they claim to be. And the trust me bro claims are what really get me here. Then we saw Jeremy Corbell is responsible for massive misinformation and disinformation, fake information about UFOs and UAPs going all over the internet. Why? Because all of these other clickbait garbage sites, like Daily Mail and all these others, are just copying and pasting whatever he said into their articles, even if it's provably false, like the claim that this object goes from hot to cold and hot to cold and hot to cold. No, it doesn't. And now, not only did Jeremy Corbell put out that fake information, but now it's on 100 different websites, that completely fake information. How many other of Jeremy Corbell's trust me bro claims are going to fall apart? Well, I have a feeling that quite a number of them are going to fall apart because, number one, history is the greatest teacher, and they always do fall apart. And number two, you know, he's been caught selling fake stories before, and usually they come crashing down pretty quickly. But I do have to admit, this is a rather strange one. So I wanted to take a moment to go and show you again, and we're going to just go over the claims. We want to thank Red and Blue 323 with a kind of generous $5. Says, have you ever had Mick West on the show? Would love to see him on Truthseekers. I'm going to cut your clip. You spent come on, Mick West. They spent $5 just to ask me to have you as a guest. I have asked him a bunch of different times, but he's a very, very busy guy, and I get it. You know, listen, if he has a couple of hours to spare, maybe he just wants to do a video by himself on his video with however many tens of thousands of subscribers he has, or maybe he wants to go do an interview with somebody with a lot more subscribers, and I get that. But I'll continue to ask him, and I will always support his efforts because I think it's important that we have critical voices, if for no other reason than to just ground us. You know, and that's another thing. I get a bad rap, for being so negative. No, I'd love to believe that jellyfish aliens are coming here from the planet Xanadu. That would make the world such a cooler place. I always hated jellyfish in the ocean, though. I got stung once. That's terrible. But I would love it if jellyfish aliens or jellyfish spaceship aliens were real. I'm not saying I don't want them to be real. I'm just saying you have to consider the source. Anyway, I've always supported Mick West, and I thank you. I'll reach out to him again, but I may have just I got to check when the last time I asked him. I think, I don't want to keep bugging the guy. Maybe every couple of months I'll say, hey, if you have a free hour or what, I'll ask him again just for you, Red and Blue 323. And thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support and helping us to praise the cash. And we've got Montauk Jerkoff, who says, we went from camera bokeh to camera bukkake. Yeah, isn't that weird? This is, I gotta say though, he is good at one thing, and that is finding weird shit videos of weird things in the sky and pretending they're UFOs. But you know who else is good at that? Third Phase of Moon and Goof On. Those clowns. So does that mean that Jeremy Corbell's no better off than those two? Probably. I'm pretty sure, though, that Third Phase of Moon have sold more fake UFO and alien stories than anybody on planet Earth. So we're just going to review these trust me bro claims again. The object went under the water for 17 minutes. No source of information to prove that. It came out of the water and it did 90-degree turns. No source of information to confirm that. Why would you cut that out of the video if that were the case? Could not be seen with the naked eye, just on IR film. Great. Can we have some eyewitnesses that will corroborate your claim, Mr. Corbell? Oh, no. Trust you, bro. There were a couple of nations involved, and the feeds were shut down. Again, I don't even know what he means. What feeds were shut down? There's feeds? We're just feeding our I guess maybe we feed like friendly nations some information, but I don't know what he's talking about. The feeds were shut down. He's going to have to explain that. That's his claim. The object has scale-like armor on it. That one's my favorite, because that means that these squid aliens might be reptilian aliens. Like maybe reptilian aliens would be the kind of aliens to have scale-like armor on their spaceships, right? Is that what he's saying? Welcome to Woo Land. Could not be detected or seen with night vision. Again, can we talk to the people that had the night vision goggles that couldn't see it, that were coordinating? And they would have to be coordinating with the guy operating the flare, who would have to be giving them coordinates. So you have all that information, right, Jeremy Corbell? Like the coordinates that the flare operator was giving the night vision operators. You know, think about this logically for a second. Or does this sound like a tall tale to you? Footage was taken by an intelligence agency and buried. Well, you're going to have to prove that claim, Mr. Corbell. That's a big claim to make. And again, if this is such top secret footage that was buried by intelligence agencies, how did Jeremy Corbell get it? And is that even legal? I'm just asking questions here. And by the way, some people on Twitter, I won't claim this, but some people on Twitter are claiming that David Grush gave him this video because David Grush was doing Air Force intelligence and image analysis around that time, right? I don't know. Maybe we have to match up. And I'm not saying this is true, but people are speculating, right? It's a closed loop of UFO wackadoos, if I ever saw one. The object in the video changes temperature. Well, we know that that was a completely and totally false claim. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 huge claims. One of them already came crashing down. So 15% of the story is fake. How fake will this story be by tomorrow? What more of these trust me bro claims will come crashing down by tomorrow or next week or next month? I'm pretty sure that some people are going to be checking in with the government and fact-checking Mr. Corbell's claims here, because boy, did he go out on a limb here, right? Listen, sometimes you gotta turn the grift knob up to 11. This is the grift knob turned up to 12. Jeremy Corbell broke the grift knob with this story. The grift knob for him is broken. He's going to need a new grift knob. Maybe he can start a GoFundMe to buy a new grift knob to grift with, right? Hopefully. Yeah. So let me know. What do you think in the comments? I've got some more time here, and I'm going to go through the rest of my notes here, which I really don't have notes. We did go over the point of Jeremy Corbell demanding full disclosure from the government while he is able to maintain how many anonymous sources does this have to be? Well, the person that leaked in the tape is one anonymous source for this story. The person operating the IR camera here would have to be another anonymous source for him to make these claims. There was night vision people. There would be a couple more, 2 or 3 more. We're up to 5 anonymous sources so far. And who told him that intelligence sources? This video came from intelligence sources, and that would be 6 anonymous sources, right? I'm confused here. 6. He's got 6 anonymous sources that he's not willing to share with any of us, but he wants transparency and disclosure from the government, right? This is disclosure dork logic. Rules for thee, but not for me. We want the government to tell us everything they know, but I'm not going to tell you everything I know, right? And I want to make one final point here. And I'm hearing that the rain is slowing down, so hopefully we'll make it through the broadcast without a power failure. But again, just fair warning, if there is a power failure and I suddenly de-res from the stream, I won't be back probably, unless just, a minute-long power failure. So I want to make a point here. Is Jeremy Corbell claimed that he was releasing the raw footage. He's a filmmaker. Filmmakers know what raw footage is. This, what he released, is not, sorry to tell you, it's not raw footage. This appears to be somebody filming the video, which is being played on a video screen, a television screen, a computer screen, some kind of screen. That would certainly degrade the image quality significantly. And you also notice something else that is extremely deceptive. Wow, this is in 4K. He's releasing 4K raw footage. Well, if it's 4K footage, why isn't it filling the whole screen, right? Why would it not fill the whole screen? Why, if you had 4K footage, why wouldn't you just release the 4K footage? Why would you release the footage shrunk down, being played on a TV screen? Because that would you want the high, don't you want transparency and disclosure? And so you'd want the highest possible quality look at this jellyfish spaceship from the planet Xanadu, or jellyfish UAP, whatever you're going to call it. My favorite was the Baghdad Phantom. Oh, I love that piece of shit. Oh, what a piece of shit. All right, so the claim is there's 4K raw footage being released of this. This is not 4K raw footage. This is garbage footage. And I think Jeremy Corbell should have to answer some questions about this. Is this just filmed on a 4K camera being played on a television screen, computer screen, his iMac screen? Who knows? But this is not raw footage, and he's a filmmaker. He knows this is not raw footage. And by the way, I believe that there is information cropped out of this. Even as shitty quality as this is, he cropped information. You see up here in the upper left corner, looks like there's missing letters. I believe that date, time, and more information would be on the display, but it is curiously missing from this video. You wouldn't be trying to purposefully obfuscate things, would you, Jeremy Corbell? You wouldn't be trying to purposefully degrade the video quality so that people can't really get a clear look at this thing. Do you know who else does that on purpose? Third Phase of Moon purposefully degrades video quality to obscure what an object really is. Congratulations, Jeremy Corbell just reached third phase of Moon bullshitter status by purposefully releasing shitty footage on purpose and claiming it's 4K raw footage. He knows better than this. This is not 4K raw footage at all. And by the way, I had another piece explaining that. Let me see if I can't find that. Yeah, one second here. I forgot to upload this. I recorded this earlier because I think it's important that people understand that, you know, this is not 1 second. It won't let me upload that. Just bear with me one moment. Let me try to make sure I have the right video that I'm sharing, which I made earlier. Forgot to put in a bumper, so I apologize. But I do have it here somewhere in my messy desktop. Does anybody else have an incredibly messy desktop, both physically and virtually? I sure do. All right, 1 second. I think I got it. I'll just have to use the video share feature, but that sometimes doesn't work great. All right, 1 second. Oh, no. No, that isn't it. All right, 1 second. Okay, I think I got it. I made a video earlier that explains the obfuscation taking place here. That I believe this is purposeful, unless all the footage that he got was somebody filming this on a screen. Now, somebody has suggested that maybe that makes it a transformative work, so he could get around legal problems with that. But I don't think that that's accurate. I think that this is going to be a problem for him. And here's another legal problem for Corbell. Where was this filmed at? You know that you're not allowed, if this is sensitive military videos or classified especially, you're not allowed to just film it with your phone and give it to Jeremy Corbell so he can make money off of it. And why is it Jeremy Corbell always making money off of our taxpayer-funded videos? Right? How much money in total has he made from taxpayer-funded videos so far? Can we get a breakdown? Can I see a spreadsheet, Jeremy Corbell? How much money did TMZ pay him to use this footage? Isn't that an issue if he doesn't own the footage? What gives him the right to sell government footage, if it is indeed government footage, to TMZ? Is that a problem? I don't know. 1 second. I'm just going to share the video file, so you'll bear with me for one moment. Greetings and salutations. I just wanted to share this editing bit to make a point. Jeremy Corbell is saying this is raw data. This is raw video. This isn't raw video. This is somebody filming from a screen, and it's cropped at that. I just don't understand, if you had good high quality footage, why you would purposefully downsample it, make it as small as you can in the screen so that people cannot get details from it. It's like they're purposefully muddying the waters so that a proper analysis cannot be done. So in order to even get the footage, according to Corbell, that is this is raw footage. No, it's not. We could see that apparently this is somebody filming is this somebody filming in a dark room, and this is the result of the video that he's releasing? Or did he purposefully make it appear that way so that he could make the video quality smaller than it actually is given to him? These are all questions for him. I don't know. But even in order just to get this, flat on the screen, we're going to have to do rotation mirror and move it so that it's flatter on the screen and we can get a better look at the image depicted. Then I'm going to have to section and zoom it with free proportions so that I could get down to the video that he's portraying as a raw video. This is not a raw video. This is somebody apparently filming from a screen, which begs the question, who is the person filming in the screen? And if this is in Iraq, that's an active war zone. You can't just film, video from a combat zone and then give it to somebody like Jeremy Corbell so that he could make money claiming that there's jellyfish alien spaceships invading planet Earth somehow. So that'll make it a little bit better. I'm going to mute the audio. I don't even trust that that's the original audio, because do you remember with the pyramid spaceships, he deleted the audio and replaced it, as I recall, with something else, or at the very least deleted the audio, because the audio contained somebody on the deck saying that it was drones. And he purposefully deleted the audio from that original raw video so that people wouldn't know it was drones and he could sell it as alien spaceships. Now we're going to play with the zoom here. I'm sorry, size and position, and try to get it bigger onto the screen. You know, look, if you have the raw video, why are you releasing this video this way? In a manner in which makes it harder for real analysis to take place. And then, of course, because of the janky way he's releasing this video, there's data missing, I think, from the screen. Now, I could be wrong. I'm no expert in these military camera systems, but we'll see if we can't find you some more information on that. So even in order to get any quality of this footage, you have to be literally able to edit videos. You have to be able to turn it, its rotation and mirror settings. You have to be able to section off, you know, to make it big and fill the screen. If he has the original video, why is he releasing it this janky, downsampled way? I think there's a reason for that. So I don't know. I'm gonna render this out. I'm gonna render this out, and then do some additional enhancements. I just wanted to share this part with you so that you could see that there's layers of deception here with this story. There's a reason that he's releasing this in this manner, turned smaller on the screen. He doesn't want everybody to get good, clear quality, you know, video here, because I think, you know, there's a reason that people purposefully downsample videos when they're selling UFO videos. And it's not because, you know, the only reason you would want to purposefully downsample a video is to obscure the object and to make it more difficult for real analysis to take place to identify the object. So I'm just going to render that out, and then I'm going to continue here with my enhancements. I will be sharing on this evening's broadcast. I'm going to clean it up the best I can, zoom in the best I can, but you have to remember, we're talking about very low quality. Look at the portion of the screen that this took up, a quarter of it. So even if it's HD, you know, HD format, what you're really getting is like 300 by 300. This is garbage. And I think it's garbage for a reason. And it's not because he has great quality footage, you know, and he wants this thing, he wants people to do proper analysis on it and get the best, clearest quality footage that they can of this sighting in order to identify it. I'm entitled to my own opinion, and my opinion is that he always does this. He manipulates the available data in order to sell a story. And further, I love it. People are saying, well, it can't be a balloon, Stephen, because it went under the water for 17 minutes and then it popped back up and it did 90-degree turns, and balloons can't do that. Well, isn't it convenient that that footage isn't included? Where's that footage, Jeremy Corbell? Let's see this object go under the ocean for 17 minutes. And that would mean what? That a drone or an Apache helicopter was trained on that area of the sea or ocean for 17 minutes. They just waited there for 17 minutes after the object went in the ocean, and then they caught it coming out? Or is that just part of the bluff? He always bluffs that he has all this additional evidence every time he does this. This this boy who cried wolf act is getting old real fast. How many more garbage videos like this is he going to put out before people don't care about anything he puts out? I'm amazed though. My original enhancement, I think it's up to like 30,000 views on Twitter. And it's just, I took the footage and I zoomed in on the object so that everybody could get a better look at it, which, by the way, is something that he could do better than me because he has more money and better video equipment, better editing. He could have done a better job enhancing the audio so everybody could get a clearer view of the object than I did. But he didn't do that. Funny that. So I just wanted to include this piece to make the point that even in order to get a decent look at this thing, you have to have some video editing skills. That limits the pool of who can get a good look at this thing and perhaps maybe identify. All right, so we're going to go back to the enhanced footage, and please let me know. Oh, that's the wrong one. We don't want to watch Jeremy Corbell's footage. I want to share on my screen my enhanced version, which again, by the way, I misspoke in that piece. I said he could have enhanced the audio. I meant he could have enhanced the video so that everybody would get a very clear look at this. He didn't do that. And again, you know, the guy's got much better equipment than me. How come I can do it in an hour and he can't do it to sell the story? It's great that, you know, he's making all this money, doing the least work he could, releasing no sources whatsoever for all of his claims. I was going to share it again, but I'm not going to do that. 1 second. We'll share to the screen my enhanced footage while we continue our conversation here. And I'm going to take comments and questions from the live chat. Let me see if we can't get a better background, however. 1 second. There we go. So I did the best that I could, and you got to admit that my version is much clearer, much easier to make out the object. Why is that? I'm not the person with the raw footage, but I was able to give everybody a much clearer view and look at what he's claiming is a UAP. And again, he claimed that the Pentagon classified this as a UAP. In fact, you know, I just want to say God bless John from the Black Vault. And I also want to mention, you know, I can make phone calls and I can send emails too, but some people don't return my calls or emails. John from the Black Vault and maybe Stephen Greenstreet and a few other people have a lot easier time getting some answers from the government. There have been a great deal of claims made that the government is going to have to step in here and confirm or deny. But I'm not very hopeful that they're going to want to comment on this because there could be an ongoing investigation. And by the way, I don't know that. I'm just speculating. One of the things the government is great at doing is saying there's an ongoing investigation. We can't comment on that. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but it's a possibility. So the burden of proof is on the person making the incredible claims. You know, I am really leaning towards just an ordinary earthly object like a cluster of balloons. I'm hopeful that Mick West and others, even given the limited data set that we have here, will be able to make a definitive, explanation of what we are witnessing. And like I said, I'll admit it, he's great at finding weird things flying in the sky and making money from them. So is George Knapp. Remember, George Knapp found that weird Batman balloon. It looked like that kind of did look like, that looked more like an alien spaceship than this thing. This looks like a bunch of trash flying in the sky. So they're great at finding, weird images, weird videos of things flying in the sky and making fantastic claims. What they're not good at is providing evidence of their fantastic claims. And we've seen this time and time over and over and over again. So we're going to let this play while we take some comments and questions from the live chat. I apologize. I didn't realize that we had gone so long. Moody Mongol is here and says, Jellyfish UFO, I only saw a bit of it, but when it changed color to white, it looked like bird poop on the outer glass encasement surrounding the camera inside. That's one of the theories of what this may be. Yeah, and I agree with you, Talman. I was reminded today that I should be kinder, so I'm going to try. And by the way, I had a nice conversation with some true believers today. They're always welcome here. I don't mind somebody coming here and telling me, I think you're wrong, Stephen, and here's why. As long as you do it civilly and, don't threaten my family or dox me because you don't like my opinion on something or, attack my physical disability, and we'll be fine. True believers are welcome here. We do these open panel shows. Anybody who wants to tell me how wrong I am is welcome to do that, right? Archaic revival. These attackers are nasty, frumpy, menopausal wenches sitting in old nasty quilt covered desk chairs. Easy to ignore. Oh, I'm way behind here. How did I miss that one? Did I miss that one? I think. Oh, no, I didn't. In times of old, men would exploit people's faith. Okay, we did get that one. Wow, I'm way, way behind in the live chat. Let me take a moment here and try to catch up to the later live chat. I apologize. When I let the live chat go for too long, it's difficult for me to catch up. So I'm scrolling vigorously while we look at this. Now, here's the other part of the footage where it's over the water. It looks like two different things to me. He's got to provide evidence that these are both filmed the same general time and provide the flight path. There's an awful lot of missing data here. And I don't think that that is by accident. I think that is by design. I'm scrolling vigorously to catch up to the live chat. We'll be taking your comments in live chat. We'll be taking your comments and questions. So please put them in all capital letters. And we appreciate all of you here in the live chat, whether you're listening on our Twitch feed, our Twitter live feed, our Facebook live feeds, our Rumble feed. Is that all we got tonight? I think so. We left one off, the free speech platform that some people don't like. We left that one off tonight because we wanted to be able to use some material that the artist would prefer their material not be played on that site. So and we were on Instagram for the first hour, but that feed has ended. Follow me on Instagram. It's at Truthseekers Show. Also, you can always visit our website, truthseekershow.com, and get the latest audio and video versions of our podcast. Andrea here. I just can't believe that in 2024, people are still accepting this garbage quality. Well, isn't it interesting that it's purposefully made to be garbage quality? It's garbage quality on purpose. Like the person releasing it, I guess, if he's saying he's got 4K footage, he could have released 4K high quality versions of this, but instead, he released it the way that he did. Accidentally done on purpose, says Art and Paranormal. Yes. Yes, I agree. Paul Shield says, the one flying over water seems to have flapping wings. In my analysis, I believe the one flying over water may indeed be a bird, right? Jeremy Corbell is in our live chat, and he says, stop debunking me and Bob or else. Yeah, it's David Blaine. It could be, yeah. Amy Collins, this kind of thing is so low quality, it could have been done over drone footage with an Amiga. It reminds me of a Sprite. Yeah, I thought something like that myself, Amy Collins. And by the way, I apologize again for missing your question. We are reaching, this is both a happy and sad moment for me because we're reaching a point where I'm really having trouble keeping up with the live chat. When you get 150 people or 200 people in there, it flies by me and I miss some things. So I apologize. Jeremy Corbell says, debunkers beware. Michael B. Says, birds are not real. Yeah. William Kane, thanks for being a member, says, okay, I just want one person in Senate or Congress to tell all the wackadoos to front up with any evidence they have or shut up and sue them into a black hole in space for wasting Congress time. That's kind of how I feel about it, right? And hey, they had their chance to testify before Congress, right? It's a dino jellyfish. That's exactly what it is. Ardent Paranormal reminding everybody, please put all questions in capital letters. It does make it a little easier for me. I would have no problem crashing a drone in the ocean to make thousands of grifters grift. I mean, maybe. This is pretty convincing to me that it may be the EID balloons. That right there that we just saw. And, I'm going to challenge Jeremy Corbell. Release the 4K footage. Let's see if this is just balloons or not. You've already made your money, right? Amiga 2000 and a video toaster. Michael B., back in the day, I think I would have murdered my own parents for an Amiga 2000 with a video toaster. I so wanted to learn how to make videos, but I couldn't. I had an Amiga, but I couldn't afford the video toaster. And I did learn video titling on an Amiga. I learned music production on an Amiga, and I learned eventually I learned how to make my own crappy movies with a VHS camcorder that my next door neighbor would lend me, which was very new and expensive at the time. It was so old, it was one of those that you had the camera on your shoulder and then like a big pack with wires going to it. That's how old it was. But I used to make my own little films my dad had 2 VCRs and I would, edit, stop one and then I had multiple tapes and really 3 VCRs, I think. My dad was real big in the VCRs and he used to dub the commercials. He used to record old World War II movies and then he would dub the commercials out of them and put them on another tape and things. I don't miss those days. It's much easier now. The Miami alien shapeshifted into 3 police officers to escape. That's exactly what happened. I could do this in 1996. I have a few drones. Let's do it. Yeah. Patty Wilhelm is here and says, problem is that some wackadoo lawmakers or believers are using UFO disclosure in their campaigns. Yeah. Jeremy Corbell, I'm not giving you a plug, bitch. Jeremy Corbell says, my TMZ show is making more money than everyone else in ufology right now. I brought you David Grush and all these whistleblowers and set up the whole congressional hearing. Just watch TMZ. Windex is the weapon used to down this alien threat. Arden says it's a hilarious fake. The Urban Way is here and just says greetings. Yes, and Nicholas Martin is here and says, I think whatever it is, escaped from between Linda Moulton Howe's legs. Maybe it's a pube tumbleweed, Nicholas Martin. That's as good as an explanation as a jellyfish alien spacecraft from the planet Xanadu. And by the way, just people are going to send me nasty messages. I know he didn't say it's a jellyfish alien spaceship from the planet Xanadu, but we're going to re-examine those claims that he made. Because the claims that he made, I think, are specifically designed so people will say, well, it can't be a balloon. It went under the water. Well, prove it wasn't a balloon. Prove it went under the water. He can't. He won't. But, yeah. Jeremy Corbell, have you seen the TMZ episode? It's so bad. We're gonna cover them. There's 2 of them. There's 2 episodes. It's a whole series of bullshit. I mean, it's a docu-series. We're going to cover them here. Yes, it's very pubic. A pube tumbleweed. Yeah. Linda Moulton Howe forgets to trim the bush for a long time. It gets all matted up and nasty, and then somehow it escapes from between her legs, and the wind carries it. There's just as much evidence that this is a pube tumbleweed as there is that this is an alien spacecraft. I'm just going to put that out there. Jeremy Corbell is saving it for the next movement. Yeah. No anomalous behavior. Clearly floating like a bunch of balloons. I agree. This thing, it doesn't appear to be moving under intelligent control. It's not making right angle turns as was claimed, at least not in these videos. It appears to be traveling, and Mick West commented on this as well. It appears to be traveling in a relatively straight line. which would be consistent with a balloon traveling on a slight wind current. Yeah. Saving it for the next. Yeah. Joey Esposito says, if it's a model, they constructed it to look humanoid, but the appendages aren't moving. Hey, Joey Esposito, email me again at truthseekershow@gmail.com, just so I'm sure. I think I have it, but just so I'm sure that you have your email address. Thursday, we're going to do a very special show. I should promote that. I'm a terrible promoter, Joey Esposito. But let me see if we can't. Let me see if I can't find this from Spooky. So we've got a full week of shows for you this week. Let's take a break from the enhanced footage for a moment. Let me know. Do you want me to post this entire enhanced footage video? I've already posted one today, but this is a little more detailed. Do you want me to post this as a separate video? So this Thursday night, we're going to have an interview with Joey Esposito about electric universe theory. What the hell is it? And this guy's going to make me do homework, and I'm going to have to read up on this so that I can ask intelligent questions and have this explained to me. I'm hoping he can explain it to me like I'm a dumb monkey and can't grasp basic anything, because it's very complicated. So if you want some mind-bending things to think about, this Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tomorrow night, we're going to have Steve Long, excellent previous guest, back for another attack. So that's 9 p.m. tomorrow night, Eastern Standard Time. I still have to make the graphics for tomorrow night, but this is Thursday night, courtesy of Spooky Graphics. Thank you very much. An interview with Joey Esposito, Electric Universe Theory. What the hell is it? This Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go back to the enhanced footage. And yeah, I'm going to make everybody else do what Corbel did. You're going to have to crop me and mute my talking out of it if you want to save this for yourself. By the way, please follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion on Twitter. Just my name that you see there up on the screen, at Stephen Cambion on Twitter. I shared earlier, I can't believe this. I shared the enhanced footage earlier. But an earlier version of this enhanced footage. And let me just check, because I don't want to misspeak and somebody say I'm not reporting accurately. Yeah. 46,000 views. 48,000 views. Look at this. I posted this on Twitter earlier. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion. We post a lot of the show-related materials on Twitter. Jellyfish UAP enhanced. And I said, like all his other videos, this has a conventional explanation, but need more data to make a real analysis, which he, of course, leaves out. Also, Corbel made 100% false statements already in his claims. It doesn't change heat signatures. I think that's important to recognize that already right out of the gate, he's making completely and totally factually inaccurate false statements in order to sell the story. And why didn't he know? If he talked to the FLIR operators, why didn't he know that that thing was not changing? He talked to the operators, right? The people who filmed this. He had to have talked to them to make those claims. Why didn't they know that the object was not changing heat signatures? A lot more questions than answers. But anyway, I posted this on my Twitter, and to my surprise, I don't think I've ever had a video get that many views. So 48, is it 46 or 48? I think it's 46,000 views. Amazing. I wish they were monetized. I did also put the same footage on our YouTube channel. You can check it out from the videos section. There's a short section of me talking and then just this footage that we're witnessing here. And again, all I did was zoom in and fill the screen. I don't know about the rest of you, but I hate when a video is like a certain format and it doesn't fill up the screen. I want to see the thing in the whole screen, but maybe that's just me because I'm visually impaired. So, and one might have to ask themselves, if I was able to do this to give people such a better look at this thing, why didn't he do that? Don't you want people to see the object, Jeremy Corbell? Or maybe, just maybe, you want it as grainy, as shitty as possible so that people don't identify it. And here, when we see it really up close and dark, that's when it really appears to be a cluster of balloons to me. But, you know, these answers are not definitive yet. We'll take a few more comments and questions from the live chat. Yeah, remember from Empire Strikes Back in the snow on Hoth, that probe droid. Yeah, that's why I wore my Star Wars shirt today, because apparently Imperial probe droids are invading Iraq, right? Yeah, Algoraces, 48,000 views already. Yeah, too bad. I don't get anything for those views. But what we do here is a public benefit. I like that our show benefits the public. Jeremy Corbell wouldn't give you a close-up view of that footage. I did, and I did it in an hour. And by the way, I renew what I'm saying here. He's got better equipment than me. He's got better video editing software than me. He's got more experience being a filmmaker than me. If anybody could have made a better enhanced version of this footage, he could have. He didn't do that. Why not? Vothlo, would Mylar balloons be the reason for the infrared reflectivity? Well, I don't know that it is reflecting infrared. The claim was that this is infrared footage and that the object was changing from hot to cold. And that turned out to be a false claim made by Jeremy Corbell. This could just be green screen. Looks lazily done either way. Well, we'll have to see if we can't get confirmation from the government that this is indeed filmed by military or intelligence military. Mark Tehran is here. Welcome, Mark. Longtime show supporter says, to be honest, it looks like a net or bag full of balloons. That's what a few people have posited as well. Guy Springthorpe, the Pistol Slug, says, it's like no one researches anything anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Guy says, has Corbell ever been right? Even a broken clock is right twice a day, so I guess. Okay, so hot to cold to no. Thanks for the info. Yeah, that has been blown out of the water. The object is not changing from hot to cold, hot to cold. That is an artifact of the camera range system. It's just changing as it changes the range, apparently. Bob Lazar just said he can fly two of his prostitute friends out to the cabin from Las Vegas this weekend if you stop the debunking. I will not be purchased by Bob Lazar's prostitutes. You tell that pimp that I can't be bought. Maybe 4 prostitutes in a big old bag of coke, but not 2 prostitutes by itself. Okay, Corbell? Yeah. Joey Esposito is here and says the material attached to the drone has to be light in weight in order to fly. And it does look constructed in a way to allow air to pass through it as well. You know, I did some experiments with some of my little drones, and I've got cheap ones, you know, $100 or less. And if you fill balloons with just air, you can get a lot of balloons on tethered together on a string to sort of follow around a drone. You can do that. And I was kind of surprised how many balloons you could get a tiny $100 drone to pull around, even if they're not filled with helium, just filled with air, right? Please stop debunking us. Jeremy Corbell in the live chat begging for mercy. I think you ought to be begging Mick West, because I think Mick West is probably right now making a pot of coffee and loading all of the available data into his, what is it called, SITREP, open source software. By the way, I want to take a moment to thank Mick West for, he's releasing the software that he uses for debunking purposes to open source, which is awesome of him to do because it took time to develop that software. And he's basically giving it away to free to all researchers, right? Andrea just laughing. Yeah, exactly. I might sell out, but I'm not selling out cheap, right? Low ball offer. Yes. Archaic Revival says, Richard, never liked Jeremy, never. Oh, man. Mick will definitely be all over that crap from Corbell. Yeah, Mick West is the man. I'm good to see that we have some people supporting him instead of trashing him And again, I don't understand why people trash people like Mick West who tell you the truth. Shouldn't you be trashing the people that keep lying to you? But welcome to the delusional carnival fantasy land of UFOs, where the people lying and scamming everybody are the good guys, and the people telling everybody the truth for little or no money, and by the way, the people lying and scamming are the people making all the money at this. The people who are doing evidence-based or fact-based or real investigative journalism and telling people the truth, they're getting 1% of what the grift squad are getting. But the grift squad are the heroes somehow. They're the good guys. And the people telling everybody the truth for little or no money, those are the bad guys. It's like bizarro world here. I don't understand it. Maybe he doesn't like new blood cutting in on his turf. I don't know. How does the camera follow the object? Drone camera? Well, I'm not an expert. I really don't know. It could be that the camera and what the camera is looking at is being operated by a human operator. That's my guess. So they have controls that work the camera zoom, what the camera is aimed at, up, down, left, right, and all of that kind of stuff. And I have seen some of those systems, but I'm no expert, so please don't quote me. Stephen, have you ever looked into Sheehan, lawyer for Grush, Elizondo, and Hunt? Yeah, I think he's mostly a true-believing wackadoo. He's starting his own UFO cult, and, I don't know what to think. Sheehan's an interesting guy, and I'll hear him out, but he makes a lot of wacky claims with absolutely no evidence, right? Mark Toronto said, I've said it a million times. There's no money in truth. Well, we had some kind and generous benefactors today. By the way, just a reminder, we read every single super chat, and we thank every single person. If you were to send a PayPal pledge, and instructions for how to help are in the description of the video, we read every single one of those, and we read every single super chat every single night. Compare that to some of these other people who don't even stop for a moment and thank the viewers when they get thousands of dollars of super chats for one night. We want to thank Maria for a kind and generous $25 PayPal pledge, and with the message, keep up the great work, love your show. Well, thank you, and we love your support, and we thank everybody for their kindness, generosity, and support. We want to make sure everybody understands that we appreciate your support. That's why we read every single super chat and thank every single person. Oh wait, I'm gonna just change it to this. Here's how. Oh wait a minute. Here's how I would sum up Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. What exactly are Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp up to? What exactly are George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell doing? I think I found the answer. That's right. They're running an alien con. And they're so bold about it to sit right at a goddamn table that says alien con right on it. I love this. I'm going to get this blown up and put this in my office, right? I got to find that. Somebody find me the footage, the whole footage from the alien con, because maybe we can get a better still image, but that, you got to admit, that's pretty good. The alien con. It's pretty good. Archaic Revival says, in his first appearance, Jeremy attempted to high-five Richard, and Richard disconnected the stream with a look of, dude, we can't let them know we talked off camera. Oh, no. Jeremy Corbell is here and says, I am the best and only source of truth in ufology. All bow to me and my show on TMZ. Debunkers beware. And would you believe that people, one time I got hate mail because of you, fake Jeremy Corbell? I just want to make sure that people understand that somebody parroting, that somebody busting Corbell's balls. That's not Jeremy Corbell's actual account from his YouTube channel. So make a good t-shirt. Yeah. Stiff Richard says, bravo. Nice double entendre there. I just like that they're sitting at a table that says Alien Con. It's truth in advertising. I am going to remote Steven's business model. Be right back. Yeah, it checks out. There you go. Yeah. Maybe I'll run my own alien con, right? A lot of people, we thought about doing like Let Me Be Grifty for 3 months or something, but I think it would really take 6 months to catch on. And people from all over the world are sending me yeah, look at this. We have an IR film expert apparently says, I watched some of your show. You seem mostly biased towards debunking, politely withdrawing my rain check. So what are you, a coward? What are you, a coward? You can't debate me? If this is real footage of aliens, and that's, who's that? David Fauch, who claims that he is and I haven't checked him out yet, but I invite him on the show tonight, a depot level FLIR technician, electronics geek, drone flyer, printing enthusiast, biased towards debunking. David Fauch, how many fake stories have I been caught selling? You know, and listen, I don't want to get too pissed off at this guy because I don't know him and he doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't have to come on my show, right? But he messaged me earlier or something like, oh, I'm a FLIR expert and I'm working on this. I said, great, come on the show. And he said, oh, I'll have to take a rain check. Then he says, I watched some of your show. You seem mostly biased towards debunking, politely withdrawing my rain check. So what you're saying, Dave Fauch, is that you don't want to support someone that's never been caught selling a completely and totally fake story, but you're okay with supporting Jeremy Corbell, who keeps getting caught selling fake stories over and over and over again. That makes sense. I'm too biased towards debunking. Tonight, I've stated facts and evidence. And the facts in evidence are that Jeremy Corbell has been caught selling fake stories over and over and over and over again. I've never been caught profiting from a fake story. I've never been caught lying to my audience. Jeremy Corbell has multiple times, over and over and over again. But you don't want to come on my show because I'm mostly biased. And by the way, I don't believe that what he's saying here is accurate. That's why I want to, let's talk. So he has thoughts. It's not something on the window lens. It's not dead pixels. I highly doubt it's balloons or a drone. It doesn't appear to be an IR detector defect. I'm working on it. Thermal signature. Why does it fluctuate that much? Well, the things in the background too do. You're a FLIR expert and you don't know that it's not, the object is not changing from hot to cold, and you're a FLIR expert. Go talk to the people at Metabunk who pretty much proved that it's not, there's no temperature change in the object because it's in the background too. It stays in focus when changing fields of view, enlarges appropriately. I think it changes its thermal signature in relation to the scene. But why? I don't think this guy's an expert. I'm glad he didn't come on. And anybody who says, oh, you're correctly stating Jeremy Corbell's history of selling completely fake stories and basing some of your criticism of this new story on the fact that he's been caught selling fake stories before. Oh, I don't want to come on your show. Okay, then I guess maybe, just maybe, I don't want you. I don't want you on my show because you're biased. If you're not willing to talk to a critical thinker, you're biased. I'll find a real FLIR expert. We'll get an impartial guest. Art and Paranormal says, check out our Discord channel. Yes, Fauch still here. He said he was leaving. Leave, douche. Is he still here? What do you mean? He said he was leaving UFOs or something? I don't know this guy. So, and I don't want to be too harsh on the guy because the truth is I don't know him anything. But look at that. Oh, you're too skeptical. I can't come on your show. What are you, coward? What are we? You only want to play with the true believer alien dildo seekers? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? You can't, because these people live in an echo chamber and they fall apart under real scrutiny. They fall apart. There's a reason Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have to block me They don't want to see me rip their fake stories to shreds. They know I'm right. They know I'm right. That's why they block me, so they can live in their echo chambers, in their delusional fantasy lands. And you can too. I'll talk to anybody here. We've had experiencers, true believers. We had a woman that claimed she went into Alien Mountain and met Manton aliens here. I'll talk to anybody. It is what it is. I don't blame some of these people, though, because they enjoy living in a delusional fantasy land. And when somebody like me, spits facts and disrupts that, they don't like it, right? I was just in a Spaces earlier in the week. I wasn't even a speaker, and people were trashing me. And isn't it always great, though? They never trash my reporting as inaccurate. They never show that I was wrong about a particular story or issue. They just go straight to, you're a cocksucker, Stephen, fuck you, and all this venom, because that's all they got. That's all they got. Sad but true. 1 second. He had to ask if this was a debunker chat. I don't want to be I don't consider myself a debunker. If anything, I would describe myself as an investigative reporter. That's what I'm not great at some of the debunk stuff. Like Mick West is great at that. And my default is to dig into the story and get as much information on the story as possible and report it to my audience. That's what we try to do here. Operation Shutdown says, sad but true. Guy Springthorpe, the Pistol Slug, says, truth speaker. Yeah. You know what? I am going to reply to that guy, though. I'm going to just say, if your arguments are so weak they can't withstand, so your opinions are so weak and faulty they can not withstand debate or scrutiny. And again, I don't know. This guy doesn't know me anything. He doesn't have to come on my show. I just think it's funny. Like, oh, you're skeptical about the alien jellyfish from the planet Xanadu story? How dare you be skeptical about the alien jellyfish from the planet Xanadu story? I can't come on your show. If your arguments are so piss poor and weak they can't withstand debate, if you have to block everybody so that you can live in a delusional fantasy world, then I feel sorry for you. By the way, I will block people who mock me for 2 hours about my physical disability, that being third nerve palsy. I'm half blind. I will block people like that. I just decided, and by the way, I didn't used to, but these people just keep going for hours and hours and hours and hours. I should find the thread and show it to you. This guy just dug his own grave for an hour. He literally sent me a video of a guy that was completely blind and then told me, you should shut up. You're a lot better off than some people, and stop crying about having a physical disability. I was like, Jesus, dude, take your medication. Some of these people need medications. By the way, I'm offering psychiatric medications to some crazy people. But I was reminded in my Spaces today, and so let me be a little clearer. I don't consider everybody that believes in aliens and UFOs to be a crazy person. I did for a very, very long time. I think there's categories. There's some people that really do live in a delusional fantasy world. They live in an echo chamber. They can't withstand any discussion, debate, or scrutiny of their belief systems. Tonight, we saw a perfect example. This guy claims to be a FLIR expert, but he can't debate me on the issues around this video. He just wants to, I guess he just wants to say what he's going to say with no pushback if he's wrong, right? Daisy B is here. It says, I love my meds. Yeah. Oh, so I was saying, I was going to start like a psychiatric medication fund for some of these people that get triggered by me, actually talking about facts and evidence and demanding facts and evidence from people that are making extraordinary claims, right? But I was reminded in this Spaces, remember, there's categories of people. there are some people that believe that there is evidence for non-human intelligence visitation on Earth, but they're very grounded, and they don't believe like Jeremy Corbell's fake nonsense. They don't believe third phase of moon or MH370 or the aliens in Las Vegas or aliens in Miami garbage stories. They're after more evidence-based stories. There's categories, so I should be kinder. I'm going to try to be, more inclusive and kinder. I get it. And the people in the spaces were very kind in pointing that out to me. You can't just paint everybody with a broad brush. And if that's been the perception that people have of me, then I apologize. I'm going to say it one more time. If you believe in non-human or alien intelligence visiting Earth, I don't believe that you're a wackadoo. I believe they may be. I'm still on the edge of and hopeful that there may be. So, if you have that flawed perception of me, then I apologize. That was not my intention. I recognize that there are it's like a spectrum, like autism. You got some people that are totally on the wackadoo side. You got some people that are right in the middle. Like, yeah, it's a cool story. It might be true. Let me look into it a little bit. Those people are fine. You have some people that, like I said, they don't believe in the nonsense stories about aliens and UFOs. They're looking for more, evidence-based information, and then there's other people that are skeptical and there's no way any of this is real. I'm not even that far over on that side. So there's a spectrum, and I just want to mention that all spectrums are welcome here. Even you fucking crazy wackadoos. I love crazy wackadoo people. They're fun to talk to sometimes, I was just talking to somebody, and they go, well, you were totally wrong on flat Earth, Stephen. I'm like, really? You're a flat earther? He's like, oh, yeah, it's definitely flat. And I said, what if I bought you a ticket to Antarctica and you go film the ice wall? He didn't like that idea. I love talking to crazy, crazy people are fun. They make life interesting. So, let me correct the record. And by the way, everybody's welcome here. We have rules, too, that everybody has to be respectful of each other in the Discord, in the live chat. So nobody's going to attack you if you believe, in wacky stuff. We all believe in something wacky. Somebody correctly pointed out, I was raised Catholic. So essentially, I believe that God impregnated a virgin woman by divine insemination, or at least I did growing up. Believe this, and then Jesus was born, and he was God's only son, and then he taught God's word, but then people got pissed off and killed him. They crucified him, and then he rose from the dead like a zombie 3 days later. Then he ascended into heaven. That's a wacky belief system, Catholicism, and I grew up believing all of that. And I still remain vaguely, I really do love and appreciate Christian ideals. But how much of that story I was told as a child is actually true, I don't know. But I'm trying to make a point here. A lot of people have wacky beliefs, and I'm okay with that. I've had some wacky beliefs. Stiff Richard says, I appreciate you being straightforward in all matters. I feel you to be fact-based info. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Smith says, most flat earthers are white rappers. Can't explain it. Yeah! What is that about? Why are so many white rappers flat earthers? That's a conspiracy in and of itself, Smith. We should do a story on that. Yes, an ardent paranormal reminding everybody, agreeing to disagree is fine, but just do it respectfully. Jeremy Corbell says, crazy people make me tons of money. I'm sure they do. And also, it's totally cool to believe what you see on mainstream TV. Agreeing with the narrative and confirmation from your peers is the only way to the truth. Jeans, please, says blocked. Who are you blocking? Are you blocking me? Did I burst your little delusional bubble? What's going on, bro? Are you okay? Do you need a tissue? You're going to block me? Is he talking about me? I don't know who he's blocking. As my dad said, everybody is weird. I love the weird people. I'm an artist. Weird people are, the pulp of the orange juice. Like, we make the world go round. Weird people make everything better. You ever notice all the wonderful music you like, movies you like, video games you like, whatever things that you really truly enjoy in life, they were created by a weird artistic person. So you got to love and respect weird and artistic people because they make the world livable. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, Michael B., I think I was calling you. Yeah, you were. And by the way, listen, anybody can follow. I'm going to say this again. Actually, you reminded me of something, and it's okay. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb during the live show. The only person that can reach me if they need to is Art and Paranormal, our chat room moderator, and Thin Lizzy, our chat room moderator, in case there's something going on with the show that I'm not aware of that I really need to know. I put on Do Not Disturb. But I'm going to say something again, and I would appreciate this. Listen, I'm trying to figure out a way around this, but I and my wife, we communicate in Facebook Messenger. I know that's kind of janky. A lot of people are like, well, why don't you just talk to her on Instagram or, what? I don't know. Anyway, I have a public profile on Facebook. It's just Stephen Cambion, and anybody can friend me, which results in meaning that anybody can message me on Messenger. But you know how your phone pings when somebody messages you? Now, imagine that you have 100 people from all over the world who don't know or care what your time zone is constantly sending you messages. And I'm not saying I get 100 messages in a day, but I get 25 at least. And a lot of those messages come at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I have to leave my phone on, Do Not Disturb, in case my wife needs me. And then even if I sleep in during the day, my wife does the early shift and gets the kids off to school, and then I sleep in and I get the kids off later in the afternoon. People still are pinging me at 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. So please, before you message me on Facebook, everybody, just Google New York time. And whatever time it is in New York City, that's what time it is where I am. So please don't message me after, 11 p.m., 12 p.m., because I'm likely sleeping. And I really don't like turning my phone on Do Not Disturb, because then in the morning, I don't know that it's still not on Do Not Disturb or whatever. Something's going on. My wife needs to contact me. Anyway, just putting that out there. So, I'm a very public person. Garage G, what about your wife? I don't know. She can contact me too anytime she needs to, but nobody else. Jeremy is checking out how many people believe in the flying jellyfish. Looks likely. Who is Jeremy? His skid mark are enough to demonstrate his worth. Could be. Check the time zone, please. Yeah, you can follow me on Facebook, but please don't send me messages at 3 o'clock in the morning. And by the way, I wouldn't complain, but a lot of people were sending me Q garbage. And no offense, I don't care about Q garbage when I'm awake. So why would I care about Q garbage while I'm trying to sleep, right? Yes, Operation Shutdown says, can't wait for the White Rapper Flat Earth episode. Well, thank you for being a member. We're going to try to make that happen. Everybody send me links to white rappers that are also flat earthers, okay? No, you're fine, Archaic Revival. And thank you. You send me some cool stuff. I don't mind emails ever because that doesn't ping on my phone. You need to do a poll, says Steve Richard. Yeah. Laurel Canyon, man. So many artists. PsyOps come out of there. Yeah. Turn off sound on Messenger and notifications. Yeah, but then I guess I could do that. But I still hear it buzz sometimes. I tried that before. Well, listen, we're over 2 hours and 30 minutes. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For now, I think we've done our due diligence. And the burden of proof, after all, the burden of proof is on the person who is making the claims. And I just want to make this final point one more time before we get out of here. Jeremy Corbell, in order to not be a proven liar again, he has to prove that the object went underwater for 17 minutes. He has to prove it came out of the water and it did 90-degree turns. Then he needs to prove that it could not be seen with the naked eye, just on infrared film. Then he needs to prove that there were a couple of nations involved and the feeds were shut down, whatever the hell that means. Then he needs to prove that the object has scale-like armor on it. Then he needs to prove that the object could not be detected or seen with night vision. Then he needs to prove that the footage was taken by an intelligence agency and buried, whatever that means. And this one he's already completely and totally false and wrong on. He did not and will never prove that the object in the video changes temperature. He was completely and totally wrong on that one. So there are some fantastic claims here. Jeremy Corbell needs to claim them. Now, what do I think about this video? I think it's going to become very obvious that this is not an alien spaceship and it is not unidentified. That's my best guesstimate. How long is that going to take? I think a few days to a week. But that really depends. If Jeremy Corbell is dumb enough to release more information, that will make things easier to identify what this object actually is. Do I believe that the attack of the jellyfish UFOs have begun and that this is a jellyfish spaceship from the planet Xanadu or from Dimension X? No, I do not believe that this is non-human. I do not believe that this is even non-human technology. But time will tell. Jeremy Corbell's been wrong every time. So if I was a betting man, he's wrong about all of these claims that he made. And by the way, just a final reminder, he made all of these claims with absolutely no evidence to support these claims. Just this grainy-ass, splotchy video that could be literally kids' party balloons or anything else. Let me know, though, what in the live chat, what do you think this object really is? I think that, one of the best explanations we've come up with is pubic hair tumbleweed. It could be. It's just as likely it's a pubic hair tumbleweed that got caught up in the wind that it is an alien spaceship, right? All right, so we've done our due diligence. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with my very special guest, Steve Long, and we'll be talking about, you guessed it, UFOs and aliens in conspiracy land. I will be back Thursday night as well. We're doing a little bit of a veering show. What does that mean? We veer off into other subjects once in a while and see how people like them. We'll be talking on Thursday night at 9 p.m. about electric universe theory. So I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Hope you'll be here with us. We want to thank our kind and generous benefactors, all of you kind and generous PayPal pledgers, you Patreon supporters, channel members, Twitch subscribers, people throwing some money at us on pill.net. Wherever you're supporting us, we appreciate you and thank you for appreciating us. So that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I too harsh? Should I just wait until the proof that this is a jellyfish spaceship from the planet Xanadu comes through from Jeremy Corbell? Should I hold my critical nature in the event that we are on the precipice of a jellyfish spaceship invasion from Dimension X? Let me know what you think in the comments, and please do join me again. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No place I'd rather be, and I hope you'll be here with me. So that's all I got, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion.
Masses. Luis Elizondo. For the masses. Luis Elizondo. For the
extraterrestrials. Nordic, the tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, the tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, tall white, Nordic, tall white, Nordic.
UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies.
People who might not buy everything you're saying, who are skeptics, has said over and over again, he has no first-hand knowledge. He has no first-hand knowledge. Maybe we shouldn't believe you. When you say you have first-hand knowledge, maybe we shouldn't believe you.
Legally, the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered documents. And beyond that, the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered documents. And beyond that, ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. I'm an intel guy. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. I'm an intel guy. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Crash retrieval operation. Psychological phenomena. Crash retrieval operation. Psychological phenomena.
The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency.
Masses. Masses.
Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Ontologically shocking but also uniting.
The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency.
I like being able to help others. I like being able to fulfill my dreams, and it takes money to do what we're doing. That's why God gives you influence to help the world, to make it a better place. We don't ask for money, and people send in millions of dollars to help us keep the broadcast on the air. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a nice place to live and being blessed. And money should never be the focus of your life. If that's all you're doing, that's shallow. It should be to be a blessing to others.
Bobby Loeb, Kevin Knuth, Gary Nolan, Jacques Delay. Bobby Loeb, Kevin Knuth, Gary Nolan, Jacques Delay.
Disclosure process? Absolutely. Disclosure process? Absolutely. Disclosure process? Absolutely. Disclosure process? Absolutely.
Diana Pasoka, Halpota, Diana Pasoka, Halpota, Diana Pasoka, Halpota, Diana Pasoka, Halpota.
Disclosure process? Absolutely. Disclosure process? Absolutely. Disclosure process? Absolutely. Disclosure process? Absolutely. This is not a joke. Like, none of this was a joke. This is not a joke. A joke. This is not a joke. Like, none of this was a joke. This is not a joke. A joke. Entertainment. 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 Entertainment.
What is catastrophic disclosure of catastrophic disclosure? And don't forget, what is catastrophic disclosure of catastrophic disclosure? And don't forget,
Controlled disclosure.
of catastrophic,
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 Controlled disclosure.
of catastrophic, societal disruption,
Catastrophic disclosure.
catastrophic,
Catastrophic disclosure.
societal disruption,
Catastrophic disclosure.
catastrophic,
Catastrophic disclosure.
Catastrophic disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure.
Psychological, theological,
Psychological, philosophical, theological, psychological, theological, psychological, philosophical, theological, psychological, theological,
psychological, philosophical, theological,
theological.
Multiple sources.
sources,
Multiple sources.
3 sources,
Credible sources.
3 sources,
Credible sources. Multiple sources.
sources,
Multiple sources.
3 sources,
Credible sources.
3 sources,
Credible sources.
fighter jets were deployed,
Multiple sources.
fighter jets were deployed, and sources. I've heard it now from 3 different people.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
I've heard it now from 3 different people.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. The lack of information, the lack of information, the lack of information, the lack of information.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.
The lack of information, 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 the lack of information,
Multiple sources.
Multiple sources. 3 sources.
Credible sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
Multiple sources.
Multiple sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.